Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome to a review of the Rip Clutchgoneski and Gearlooski 2-pack. Now, if you're unaware, this is the last 2-pack in the 2015 year, and in my opinion, the contents of the case that this pack is in are rather boring. The only other 2-pack that I find interesting is the Mater with All in All Cans and Sushi Chef's pack, and that has only been released once previous to this in a case over the summer around June. So since that contained 3 new diecasts, it was pretty hard to find because many collectors wanted to buy it, but I was able to find a few of them, and it is nice that Mattel included that 2-pack in this case as well. Unfortunately, Lost in the Desert Van and Mini only appeared in one case. I feel like Mattel could have sold a bunch more of those 2-packs if they included them in some of the more recent cases. Additionally, there is only one of these packs in this case, and of course it contains the new model of Gearlooski, who is Rip Clutchgoneski's crew chief, leaving only one crew chief in the World Grand Prix to be released, which is Max Schnell's crew chief named Autobahn. And actually in 2016, in some sort of World Grand Prix Pit Crew series, he will actually be released as a single. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm pretty sure he'll be in the second case of 2016, but I'm not entirely sure. There are a few of him on eBay loose, so if you want to check out some pictures of Autobahn, he looks really cool. He's a brand new model of an Audi as well and looks great. Now of course Gearlooski also looks good, but there is one negative to him. He never existed in the movie. And now you guys may think, of course, every World Grand Prix racer had a crew chief. No, according to the Cars books and some other sources, Rip Clutchgoneski did not have a crew chief, and he was a rookie. In my opinion, Rip resembles Lightning McQueen from Cars 1 in some aspects, such as he's a rookie and does not have a crew chief. Now that's just my opinion. I'm not sure if Disney and Pixar intentionally did that or if it was just something that was a coincidence, but I find that pretty interesting about the character. So yes, technically Mattel just made up a character to release because Gearlooski did not exist in Cars 2. Now that doesn't mean that Rip Clutchgoneski acquired a crew chief after the events of Cars 2, because as we know, there were several races after the World Grand Prix, such as the Neon Cup, Ice Racer, Carbon Racers, and he participated in a few of those, so he might have gotten a crew chief since then, but of course, not in the World Grand Prix. And if you can see, this is actually in the World Grand Prix series, the last cars to be released in the 2015 World Grand Prix series. As you can see, Rip is 14 out of 15 and Brian is 15 out of 15. Now, I really do like the art on Brian right here. It looks really cool. Now, one thing you may notice and be surprised and kind of wonder at, but you see, that's green on the window there, but if you look at Brian here, it's red on the window and the colors are switched. Red on bottom, green on top. On the diecast, it's red on top, green on the bottom. And now that's only because of the fact that if you're looking at him and this is his right side, and if you're looking at him here, this is his right side. Actually, it'll be easier to see when I open him up, but it's actually green on his right side like the art shows. Now that was something I originally discovered and was kind of annoyed, but then I realized that I was just perceiving the art a little bit differently, and it's actually correct. So I feel like it's nice that they kind of switch the colors on both sides, because usually most diecasts are the same on both sides. On the back, there's nothing too interesting. We do get Francesco Bernoulli and Giuseppe Motorisi in the 2-pack released earlier this year, and of course 2 racers in the World Grand Prix, Max Schnell and Miguel Camino. The description for the series reads, "The World Grand Prix will determine who is the fastest car in the world. 3 races in 3 countries and only 1 champion." And there's a nice picture in Port Corsa of Lightning McQueen and Francesco at the starting gate. So I want to open this guy up and we'll take a look at him loose. Alright, one thing that I need to address before we get into a review of these, and it is pretty disappointing to me, but if you can see on Rip Clutchgoneski here, look how bad the front of him looks. It is chipped and it looks really bad. There's a lot of paint scuffs, and I'm not sure if you can really see it too well on the camera there, but in person it looks very bad because there's like red paint on the yellow there, and it's bad quality control. Also, if you can see above his eyes right there, it's rather chipped, and this is just Mattel's poor quality control. And I kind of touched on this back in my To Protect and Serve 3-pack video. I mean, look at that. Look at that big mark on his fender there. Look how bad that is. Look how noticeable. Like some black paint or some gray paint just got up on Rip's fender there, and that's really disappointing. Thankfully, though, Brian over here is almost perfect, but Rip is absolutely horrible. I mean, the paint is all over him, and it just doesn't look good at all. I mean, I do have other Rips that are good, because this one's just a duplicate for me, as he's been released before, but I'm just very disappointed that Mattel lets this get onto the shelves. Now, I didn't mention, but I actually found this 2-pack at Target a few days ago, and I was really happy about it. And I noticed how bad this was from the package. I mean, look at that. Look at that big mark on his fender there. I did not order this from China. I got it out of a store. So therefore, the quality should be almost pristine. But it looks extremely bad, especially in the front here. So there's not really too much of a difference between this Rip Clutchgoneski and the other released versions. So I'm not really going to review him that much, because I know you guys have seen him before, know what he looks like, and stuff like that. So before we get into review, I guess, of Brian, I just wanted to give a brief history of these two and kind of where they come from, because you may be wondering, if you're not like a well knowledge or been here for a while, but Rip Clutchgoneski actually represents the country of New Rwanda, which is a fictional country that Disney Pixar made up for the story. Not sure why they did that. I mean, they had hundreds of other countries they could have selected, but it's most likely a European country based off of the model that Brian here is. He's a trunk of, which was also some other models of trunk of were also in the movie of Cars, such as Ludwig here. We also have Petra Trunkov as well. And originally, when Brian was previewed, many collectors believed that he was the same model as Ludwig, and it actually came out that he is not the same model as Ludwig, and is actually extremely different in size. But, of course, there are a few similarities because they are the same type of car. They are Trunkovs. And of course, Rip's crew chief is not a lemon or a bad guy or anything, but he is the same model in the whole family of Trunkovs, I guess you could say. But I love the designs on Rip. There is the flag of New Rwanda, and it looks great. It's in its full extent. Not really sure what the colors mean, because usually when countries have flags, the colors stand for something, and I'm not sure what that stands for. I'm not sure what that kind of gear logo stands for either. Of course, because it's a fictional country, not much information has been released about it. And there is the World Grand Prix logo with the flag in there as well. He's got some nice orange rims, some green paint scheme on here, along with the red on the window, and it's the completely opposite on the side over here, which looks nice. I'm glad they changed it up a bit. And of course, you have his headset, which is on all of the World Grand Prix crew chiefs, and looks really nice. And I love his expression. He looks happy, although Rip didn't do too well, especially in the first race, because he had some sort of engine failure. And on the back, his license plate reads 15-74 and then MDG, which are very similar to the other license plate, especially on Petra Trunkov here. It had a dash in between two numbers, and then 3 letters below it. So, of course, these are very similar models, although one main difference between Petra Trunkov here and Brian is that the back is very different. First to mention here is that this whole part kind of like is, I'm not really sure how to explain it. It's really a visual thing that you can guys just see from visual. It's just a little bit bigger vehicle, not the same. This is more of like a sedan, I guess you could say. And this is more of like, I guess, I'm not really sure how to explain it to you guys, but it's just a visual thing. I'm sure you guys noticed that this part is missing, or this part is missing, whereas Rip's crew chief Brian has it. So hopefully you guys know what I'm saying. Now, as you can see here, the 2 review mirrors, or the side view mirrors, are on the front of the diecast here, coming out right in front of the windshield there, and Trunk of, or Petro Trunk of here, has only one on the left, and that's most likely because he's a lemon and the other one broke off somewhere. Now if you go back to Ludwig actually has both of them still attached, and they're very big and they look great. Now I have to say I really do like Ludwig. I mean, I love how big he is and just the rust on him as well. So I have to say I might like Ludwig more than Rip's crew chief, but Rip's crew chief is a very nice trunk of as well. Now their license plates are a little bit different. I'm not really sure why, but it's just kind of like a random thing. I mean, if you're a trunk of, doesn't necessarily mean that you're supposed to have a certain style of a license plate. Of course, Ludwig appeared here in France, and now I did mention this in my previous video, but there will be some sort of Paris series returning in 2016. And the two releases we know so far are Fimic Missile, Tombe, and potentially one of the flatbed seller trucks in the market scene. So that's really all I have to say for Brian Gearlooski here. I just kind of wanted to do a full comparison of all the Trunkivs. Looks very nice. They all look really cool. My favorite though is Ludwig, then Rip's crew chief Brian, and then Petrov Trunkiv. Now there have been a few other Trunkivs that were the exact same model as Petrov right here released, such as Tolga and Vladimir, but they're exactly the same, so I don't really feel a need to show them. So briefly I'll show Rip here, who's kind of boring because everybody knows him and my quality on him is pretty bad, but as you can see he's number 10, got the World Grand Prix logo that Brian here has as well, only his has a 10 over it. He represents All in All, World Grand Prix on a spoiler, and some really cool colors going around him. Now unfortunately though, Rip's supposed to have more of an orange color instead of a yellow. It should match his crew chief, but he doesn't really match because he has yellow for some reason instead of orange, and I'm not really sure why that is, but I like the colors or the scheme on Brian here more on Brian than Rip. So that's basically all for this 2-pack. I think this might be my favorite. I'm not really sure. It's really hard to decide. It's either this 2-pack or the Lost in the Desert Van and Mini would probably be my favorite, because it's just nice to get some more teams for the World Grand Prix, because not many teams or members of teams of World Grand Prix racers have been released, so hopefully next year we'll get some more, like maybe even some pitties. That'd be awesome. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you guys suggestion video, and I'll see you guys then. Bye now.